46 days, 6+ weeks until the November general election. And sure, there's a president to be picked, but in Idaho, there's also a proposition to decide how we will do our picking, our political picking for the state and local positions in the future. Proposition 1 proposes to change our election process in 2 ways. Open up the primaries, where all registered voters can choose any candidate they want, regardless of their affiliation. The top 4 vote getters from that May election would then advance to the general election in November, where, if Prop 1 passes, the winner would be decided by ranked choice instant runoff voting. We've already heard from both sides of this debate a couple of times, but for those who maybe still don't understand what's at stake, we wanted to offer up a demonstration of how ranked choice voting works in a real-time scenario. It's Election Day at KTVB. Polls are open, where all of our employees
So I just have to see their ID and then I give them a ballot?
have been invited to participate
I don't have my ID, but I will.
Wow, okay, you're gonna have to sign an affidavit.
in a very serious experiment. 5 choices in each of ranked choice voting. You pick 1 through 5. Our ballots consist of 5 candidates in 2 separate races. Bubble it in like a regular election.
Thank you, Rachel.
Return the ballot to the box.
Lisa has voted.
Ranked choice voting
Instead of just selecting one candidate that you prefer over all the others, you are ranking them.
is a component of Proposition 1,
You're just gonna rank them 1 through 5 for both.
a voter initiative on Idaho's statewide ballot this November that would also open up the primaries and change the way we vote in the general election.
So you're selecting your most preferred candidate first, your next most preferred candidate second, and so on and so forth until you don't feel like including any more candidates, or you can rank all of them if you really want to.
To show how it would work, our voters, Bradley has voted. Thank you. Are deciding on what to drink
1 is your favorite, 5 is your least favorite.
and what to eat for lunch.
I'm going for tacos. Am I allowed to tell you that?
All right, Mark has voted.
And after 30 minutes, we had pretty good turnout, I think.
Pop them in here.
We had better
Jason has voted.
than 40% participation
Thank you.
and 80 ballots to tally. First, 1 for pizza. We counted all the first choice votes. 1 for tacos. Tacos took an early lead. Another for tacos. Another for tacos. Over hamburgers, salad, pizza, tacos, and sandwich. Sandwich. Meanwhile, water was the immediate frontrunner. Water for drinks. Water. A lot of boring people. That was over Pepsi, 7-Up, and 3 others. Dr. Pepper, water, Coca-Cola. 1 7-Up. Even though H2O, 18, 19, and 20,
That's what we got.
was way ahead, it was 1 vote shy of the 50% plus 1 it needed to win.
If you've got
So,
third-party
we asked Dr. Charles Hunt, are you familiar with ranked choice voting?
quite.
A Boise State political scientist who teaches ranked choice voting to college kids.
It's a fairly popular reform right now, and so yeah, I try to keep up on how it's going in other places.
To help us figure out a favorite. People say this is confusing if you had more than, say, 5.
It's, if you've got like 30 candidates on there, right, then sure, that could get confusing. Probably most people are not going to be ranking all 30. Is it confusing with 4? I don't think it has to be that confusing, and research has shown that voters get used to this. They learn about it pretty quickly, and the confusion doesn't tend to linger for too long.
To go from 5 candidates to 1 winner with a simple majority, it's a simple system. So the tally. First step, look to who finished last, which would be 7-Up.
Okay, so what do we got for 7?
And we throw that one out and we take their second choice
Yes.
and give it to somebody else.
Yeah, so who did our 7-Up? Our
7-Up's second choice was Coca-Cola. So if you want to mark down to Coca-Cola.
So let's do that. So we'll add a vote here for.
Do we cross 7-Up out?
And we can. They're out of the running.
They're out of the running.
Still not a predominant winner.
Okay. So now, what do we do?
We got to go to our next lowest. So Pepsi now is the lowest vote getter. We already know they're going to be out of the running, but we got to look at these 4 votes to see who their second choice votes were.
This one would be, second choice would be Dr. Pepper.
Okay.
Okay. This one, second choice is water.
So that's going to be it.
Dr. Hunt says it's common for the early favorite to eventually wind up winning. So now let's do food, lunches. While tacos look like it would easily take the win, it only got 16 first choice votes. So following the same process of eliminating the lowest vote getter, salad.
yeah, we got to stay healthy other ways, I guess.
Not a lot of salad lovers here. Okay, and looking at the salad lover's second choice, tacos got 2 more and sandwiches got 1. But still not enough to push either one over the top, which brings us to the next lowest. 5 first choice votes for hamburger puts 2 more toward pizza and 3 more in tacos total. Second choice, tacos.
That's it.
That's it. We finally have a winner.
We can keep counting if we want, but now, like we did with water before, now tacos is past that 50% threshold. Doesn't matter what the rest of the votes say at this point.
Tacos and water. What most KTVB voters wanted in the first place, or second.
Like ranked choice voting is designed to produce a winner that has majority support, right? In some fashion through either first place votes or second or third place votes.
Sierra has voted.
You have a clearer and more nuanced way of reflecting your preferences.
And thank you for voting, sir.
And no, we didn't celebrate a successful demonstration by actually eating tacos, because like most elections, even if the candidate you choose wins, you don't always get what you want. With just 40 voters' ballots to count and with 2 dominant winners, we didn't get a chance to demonstrate another criticism of ranked choice voting. That would be the exhausted ballot. So let's say tacos didn't get enough to win in that 3rd round of counting. And let's say we went to the 3rd lowest on the list, that would be pizza. And let's say the person who voted pizza as their first choice picked hamburger as their second. Well, hamburger had already been eliminated as a winner. So that would be an exhausted ballot. Same result if that voter left their second choice blank. That ballot no longer has an impact on the rest of the tally, which is why some voters might claim in that situation their vote doesn't count. Dr. Hunt agrees with that criticism, but he also adds there are a lot of voters in the middle who may not like either possibly extreme candidate in a 2-party system the way it is now who feel like, well, their vote doesn't count. In our experiment, as in most ranked choice elections, according to Dr. Hunt, it's very rare when an election turns based on those second or third choices, so the dominant one won. All right, so is ranked choice voting confusing? Are exhausted or incomplete ballots being tossed out a problem? Maybe our in-house experiment can help you decide that for yourself. But there are many who already decided those are big problems with ranked choice voting. And those are not the only problems. Idaho House Speaker Mike Moyle wrote an opinion piece last week for Idaho Ed News against Proposition 1. The problems with it, he wrote, it would turn Idaho's closed primaries into a jungle primary where anyone can vote for anyone regardless of party affiliation. And he says ranked choice voting not only would get rid of Idaho's traditional, quote, one person, one vote elections, but it's also complex, time-consuming, with both voting and the results, and costly. However, some of what he wrote in the op-ed didn't quite add up.
Your dinner analogy is perfect, right? Somebody's got to make a decision. And when you start trying to do second counts, third counts, it's going to confuse the voters to the point they're not going to want anything to do with it, Brian.
What's confusing about it?
Well, think about it this way. In 2026, there's going to be, what, 18 people on the ballot, 16, 18, something like that? Instead of going through and vote for your candidate, I know I want for Congress, I want for Senate, who I want for governor, who I want for legislature. Now you're going to go in there, well, I want this guy first for governor, and I want this guy second, and this guy third, and this guy fourth. And you do that in all of them. So instead of voting for 18 races, you're voting for 72 races, because you got to do 72 decisions instead of 1.
The professor we spoke with said studies have shown, he's a political scientist, studies have shown that voters get used to it. At first, it's a bit jarring, but they get used to it.
Political scientist, what's that?
Studies politics.
Yeah.
There's a science to it.
It's really easy. You vote for your candidate and you move on. You don't vote for 4, you vote for 1.
The other thing you brought up was cost.
Mm-hmm. Cost is a lot.
We've estimated that it could cost as much as $25 to $40 million. That is an educated estimate based on what we have spent on election equipment in the past.
Equipment which could cost half the yearly price of Idaho's brand new $80 million launch grant program. So these voting machines would be a one-time cost of $25 to $40 million, not a yearly cost.
So you think we should take away the ability to have those grants to go get a job, when launch. We should take half of them away for 1 year so we could change the voting machine, so we can make voting in Idaho more complicated, confusing, start a process that nobody's ever going to trust when it's done. Yeah. And
why wouldn't they trust it? It could have something to do with what Speaker Moyle wrote at the end of his op-ed. Of the 2 companies able to supply ranked choice voting machines, one is Dominion Voting Systems. This is deeply concerning to me.
Dominion machines, and I think there may be one other company that makes machines that can do these algorithms, right? One of the concerns we've always had since the 2020 election is that our voting machines are not tied to the internet, right? They count, that's all they do. And it's not going to be the case if you have ranked choice voting, because all those...
You mentioned Dominion. That didn't go so well for Fox News.
That made them mad. They lost a lawsuit, didn't they? That's why I said Dominion and another.
But why bring up Dominion if...
Because Dominion is a buzzword, is it not? It's one of the words that people get worried about because they think there's something nefarious there, whether or not there is.
Is that why you used it?
Absolutely. I want people to think about what they're doing. If you want to go down and buy new Dominion machines, then I think the voters ought to know that to do this, you're going to have to buy Dominion machines.
But there's nothing wrong with Dominion.
I don't know. I haven't done the research yet.
But Speaker Moyle is certain the results are enough to cast doubt about how they are calculated.
I'll use the last example, right? They now have a Democrat congressman. They've never had one. And they're all going, hey, how did this happen? I didn't vote for the Democrat. It happened because they kept counting till they got to the end and got the Democrat to win. Maine's the same way. The Republican wins election night, the Democrat wins the next day. People are going to be mad when they figure out that they're being duped by this down ballot crap that they're not going to understand. It's confusing.
Or maybe that was just everybody's second choice.
What about their first choice? Why not just have one choice and be done? Your dinner analogy is a good one. Mom decided in my house what we were having. We didn't get to go in there and say, hey, Mom, I want this, this, and this. And we didn't sit around the table and have a conference and everybody cast their votes and then pick 1, 2, 3. We had, hey, this is what's for dinner and you're going to eat it.
Did you like it?
Yeah.
Every time?
If I didn't, I sure as heck didn't complain.
Perhaps Prop 1 supporters are just tired of having to just choke it down. Speaker Moyle seemed to be befuddled a bit by the concept of algorithms, or doesn't believe they work like they're supposed to. I mean, algorithms, they are what we use to land on the moon, right? So they do work. He also believes recounts would be a problem in a ranked choice voting system. This would be a good time to point out Dominion Voting Systems won a $787.5 million settlement with Fox News for the network falsely claiming the machines were responsible for switching votes from Trump to Biden and other conspiracy theories, none of which were true, including the machines being connected to the internet. Speaker Moyle admitted he was just trying to get attention, like a scare tactic. As for the Maine and Alaska elections he claimed were not transparent or trustworthy, well, let's look at Alaska. In 2022's special general election, there were 2 Republicans on the ballot against 1 Democrat. The Republicans split the first round vote, and neither had the majority, neither of the 3. But more people had the Democratic candidate as their second choice on the lowest Republicans ballot, giving Mary Peltola the 51% win. Alaska's first Democratic member of Congress since 1973. Not their first ever. And Maine, it wasn't a tale of 2 results in the Pine Tree State. The Associated Press actually called the win for the Democratic incumbent before midnight on Election Day, despite her Republican challenger claiming the math didn't add up. So just to point out, though, we weren't trying to make a case for or against ranked choice voting or Proposition 1 in Idaho. Our goal with these stories were to explain it and to address some of the concerns. And, well, I guess we hope we're able to do that for you.